My name is Elaine Thompson, and I've been working in the field of sound and sound therapy for the last 16 or more years. I've recently integrated into my practice the use of clinical hypnotherapy and NLP. And together as a whole, I think they make a complete holistic therapy, in the fact that I treat not only the body and the more difficult diseases with sound, but I also look at the sources of those illnesses and problems by looking in the mind and using hypnotherapy to balance and correct the problem. Everything in this entire universe has its own resonating pitch. Everything, even from the table to a book to a tree, to our human bodies, everything is moving and resonating, and therefore produces a sound which can be measured. So within that concept, we can measure things that aren't balanced or have changed in your body and your voice. We can look at imbalances like a seesaw. If things are very much weighted on one end and very light at the other, then that seesaw of tone in your body needs to be brought to a perfect 90-degree balance across the board. And when you find that balance, that's when your body has everything it needs in order to heal you, to bring you physically and emotionally back into balance. The area that I work in is not toning. This is very, very specific frequencies, using computer technology to analyze the voice, using very, very specific tones to replace what's missing or deficient with using brainwave frequencies. Now, you may have heard of brain entrainment therapy, where people use hemisync, binaural beats and so on, to help you to relax or to learn better. Well, working on that similar principle, the sounds I would feed back to you are within the brainwave range, but much, much more specific and much deeper, targeted at not just emotions, but physical things like body chemistry, muscles. So, for example, if you pulled a muscle in your calf, that muscle resonates at a particular frequency, and I happen to know what that is. So if I look and I see in your voice an anomaly there, I can feed the balancing frequency back, and it allows your muscle to heal much faster. If you suffer with cramp or migraine, it's the sounds are balancing. It gives your body back the opportunity to put everything in equilibrium again. Every single person is totally unique. Like a fingerprint, everyone has a different voice print and pattern. And initially, I like to collect a palette of information. So I would first of all ask for medical details, whether the client was under a doctor, GP, and whether or not they were taking medication, because all these things count, how long they've had the illness and the problem and so forth. Then I use my knowledge of disease and illness, and of course the ever-ready internet, to check on all the possible signs and symptoms, look at what they're displaying and so on. Then I take several voice prints. Now, your voice, anyone's voice, is like a hologram of everything that's going on within your body. In the same way that reflexology reflects the whole body in the feet, and iridology reflects it in the eye, and so on, and Chinese medicine reflects it in the meridians and so on. Your voice gives me a picture of what's happening with you right now. I can also see, if I take a spectrograph print, I can see what's happening with your body chemistry today, in this moment. Or if I take a longer, in-depth voice print from you, which comes out as a numerical graph, I can see your general trend over years of how your voice has formed, how many octaves it stretches, and what are the deficiencies and what are the excesses. And using all that information, plus specifics that I may have noted down while I was interviewing you about emotional issues, I work with frequencies that are designed to with 1/100th of a hertz within the brainwave range between 0 hertz and say 60 or 80 hertz, and I tailor make specific frequencies that will guide your body into balance again. And I'm training your brain to make those frequencies for itself by repeating them, by having you listen to them. And they're very pleasant. They sound very much like a cat purring, very low frequency sounds, not difficult. And you can have them in the room. When I've treated babies or animals, you can have them generated in a little sound generator and just place that next to the child, or I've even put a headset on a horse's neck, and you would be amazed how sensitive animals are to this. They are so much faster at responding than humans, and you can certainly tell whether they like it or not. They complement each other beautifully. I've worked, as I said, for the last 16 years with sound therapy, but one of the problems I came up against was I found that people would only go so far because they've been accustomed to going to a doctor and they get a pill or a fix or something like that, and not always willing to look at maybe how and why the problem started and whether there was an emotional link that they may have created that started the problem. So I decided that I needed to look into people's minds as well. And in order to do that in the most gracious way possible, I've studied clinical hypnotherapy and NLP as a means to help the client uncover or possible reasons why they may be manifesting problems now, and to become self-empowered, to realize that they are not a victim of a disease or a syndrome or something that the doctor has given a label to, that they have the power to change the way they are themselves. You know, we all know that if you're continually banging your thumb with a hammer, if you stop, then the pain goes away, or it will eventually with a hammer. But it's like teaching people how to stop doing what they have been doing in order to change their physiology and their mental condition now.